How are you doing? I know I'm late. Thank you for the thumbs up. What's up, y'all? Let's see. Hey, Betty White. Hey, Fates. Y'all, Grammy Love. How y'all doing? Y'all having a good night so far. What's up, Lynn? Doing a good morning. Y'all having a good Thursday so far. Hey, Seriously Love. Let me, yeah, wait, here we go. Thank you. Please like this video as y'all come in. I appreciate y'all. Hey, Melody Jackson, what's up? Y'all know we are on finally. Okay. We are finally on. Now, the chapters are getting a little longer, but we are finally. Oh, bitch, I can't even talk. I didn't even put it in the title, though. I meant to put it in the title, but we on chapter 4. Okay. We have made it to chapter 4. Hey, Carrie Ray, how you doing, boo? Melissa, what's going on, honey? Betty White, your car broke down. Girl, it's gonna be all right, Betty. You get it fixed. Hey, Inquisitive Mind. So, we are on chapter 4 of The Untold Secret. Now, this chapter 4, it is a little bit longer. I did kind of peek and count through the pages or whatever. So it's getting a little bit longer. Like I said, it's only 10 chapters in here. So maybe chapter 4 got some real good tea. We finna see, y'all. We finna see, chat. Okay. All right, Inquisitive Mind. See you Friday. All right. So chapter 4 is Growing Pains. She said, do they have the audio to the book? You know what? You girl, if that was the case, Victoriously Love, you know I wouldn't be up here reading. Now you know better. I don't know though. They may. Like I said, I did order the book directly from the author, so he may have that available, but I wasn't aware, girl, because I would have got it. Thank you, Carrie Ray. We are reading. She said that the audio is Deanna. Listen, yeah, I'm reading chapter 4. This is Growing Pains of the Untold Secret. So let's get into it, y'all. Now, I'm gonna need y'all to keep up with me on this book, okay? Now, I have a thinking, so I need y'all to keep up with me on this book. That's all I'm asking, okay? Being a wait, being 6 foot 11-year old wasn't easy. Always being challenged. Wait a minute, y'all. Am I back? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay, so I'm gonna start this one over. Follow me. Most can't nobody hear me. Hey, Paulette, can you hear me, boo? I hope so. Okay, well, anyway, being 6 foot, little did they know I was a huge teddy bear inside, and I only used my anger and strength when I was in fear of my life or in fear of someone doing something to me. Around this time, I was finishing up my time at the Pines Treatment Center, and it was time to face the music. I had to return home with my mother. This was a hard pill to swallow, but this time it would be a lot different. Instead of being in and out of foster homes, it was in and out of children's psych unit. over 45 times to be exact. Elizabeth General Medical Center Elizabeth General Medical Center in Elizabeth, New Jersey became my second home. When we arrived at my mother's apartment, I became super nervous. I was sweating, shaking, and feeling nervous. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to expect, what she would look like, and what was awaiting me behind the door of 560 apartment D, Cap, well, I don't know what this is, Capabanco Plaza. He didn't tell me the address. All right. The only thing I did remember was at my room, what my room looked like, and what the toys I had left when the state took me away. And I was praying that they were still there. When my mother walked up to the van, I was in shock. She came with a smile offering me a hug, and I couldn't get myself to form my arms around her. I was kind of embarrassed because I had never been hugged by my mother, and I thought that I never wanted to be touched by her ever again. The first couple of days was so weird. I had to I had to register for my new school, and I was nervous about starting something new. I had to be placed in a special education classes. The normal kids called it the slow people class. These classes were for kids who were either had behavioral problems or learning disabilities. I had the worst behavioral problems, and it had affected my learning because of all the different placements kept me from keeping up. And I was never stable in one place for long periods of time. The first day of school was okay. I met my teacher. He was pretty cool. I had someone in my class who lived close to me, and he was cool too. The second day wasn't so good. The boy who lived close to me tried to cut line while we were going to lunch, and he pushed me. Before I knew it, I had punched him in his face and began to beat him until I saw blood. When this happened, all I remember was seeking black, and until I saw red, I wouldn't stop. I was sent to the principal's office, and the police, my mother, and DSS social worker were called. I was suspended for 3 weeks, and upon returning to school, I had to I have to have an escort whenever I walked from class while I was in the hallways. Oh damn. That night that night at home was even worse. I was badly beaten. I was handcuffed to the railings in our hallway and beaten with an extension cord for about an hour. I isolated myself in my room. I only came out for eating and to use the restroom. It was like walking on pins and needles. Eventually, I went back to school, and it just got worse. The same boy I beat up began to shout to me. That's why your mother makes you touch her private parts. You're dumb, and I hope you die. I completely lost it. I took the chair I was sitting in, and I continued to slam the chair on his head and didn't quit. It took 7 teachers to take the chair and get me off of him. He had a fractured skull and a broken jaw and 3 broken ribs. I spent 21 days at juvenile detention center. While in the detention center, I got into several fights because I was the biggest kid, and everyone wanted to see if they could beat me up. They tried to bully me because I had a lot of female tendencies, and I felt I had to prove myself. I already didn't like people or crowds, and having to be in close quarters with other boys didn't feel right. I couldn't watch television, and I couldn't go outside. I was stuck in a confined space with 60 other boys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 21 days. It made me angrier, more frustrated, and more violent because I constantly had to fight to keep the boys from messing with me. I fought to keep my food. I fought to take showers with them without them trying to touch me. And I even fought my own mind because I thought about hanging myself or killing one of the other boys so I could stay away from home. I knew that I knew they wouldn't charge me as an adult since I was only 11 years old. And because of my past sexual and physical abuse, I could get away with it. They wouldn't consider it premeditated murder because of my past. The most I could have gotten was 10 years in a mental institution, and Elizabeth General was like my second home, so it would have been just fine with me. I thought out the whole plan just so I could stay away from my mother. After I got released, I returned home and my mother came and sat down at the table while I was eating and discussed what had transpired and concluded that she would never be apologetic for what happened because I deserved it. She said I was a product of a rape that nobody ever knew about. I was dumb and I looked just like my father. When she saw my face, she saw him and everything he did to her while she was pregnant with me. The only way she could get back at him was to was to do and allow things that were wait, happening to me to happen so he could suffer because I was his son. She hated that man for some untold reason. She said if I made it past the week, I was lucky. That was my cue to find a way to escape and find it quickly. In addition to fear or anger, feelings of failure also caused me to make plans to run away from home. I knew it would be easier to live on my own than to live in a critical home. I didn't miss home at all because I felt like such a failure there. Sadly, kids with behavioral management problems or learning disabilities often get rid of, often get tired of feeling that they just can't get it right. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Burping. It's easier for them to run than to fix the problem. Often they don't know what they are facing can be dealt with using a train. Me buffering. Okay, am I buffering y'all? I hope I'm not buffering no more. I seen I was buffering, so I stopped. Okay, so I'm gonna start back. So I waited for her to fall asleep. I jumped out of my bedroom window and ran away. I hopped train and went to Elizabeth and went to the hospital and told them what happened. I couldn't go to the hospital in our city because my mother knew everyone and I knew they would call her if they saw me. So I got so when I got to the hospital, I told them I was needing to be seen because I felt like my life was in danger. I began to tell the doctor who saw me in the emergency room what was going on and that I was in fear of my life. Hey NYW, Fifi, Curio, how y'all doing? Grammy Love, hey y'all. Betty, you better leave Kara alone with your mess ass. Anyway, let me get back to this. Okay. They had a separate emergency room for kids who were being seen for psychiatric purposes. So for the moment I was safe. Eventually they had to call my mother and tell her that I was there and that they were admitting me due to the fact that I told them I wanted to kill myself and that I was hearing voices. Children and adults can hear voices in their ears inside their heads. The voices may be nice or unkind. They may be there all the time or only certain situations. People might hear their own voice or the voices of people they know or don't know. The voices might talk to the person hearing them, to each other, or to someone else. Hearing voices is not necessarily a sign of mental illness. It can be related to stress or trauma events, such as bereavement or family breakdown. Some people who hear voices say voices can be positive and helpful in their lives. Children may hear voices in a way they have imaginary friends as a kind of a companion who does things with them or who does things with them or comments on what they are doing. Many people who hear voices find the voices go away on their own, or they can live with the voices and do not need mental health support to cope. If voices are unkind, argumentative, angry, or tell the person to do what they don't want to do, including dangerous or violent things, they can be a sign of a person needs support or help. They can be related to anxiety and depression, or they can be a sign that the person is developing psychosis or schizophrenia. Interpersonal conflicts were one of the core problems of my adolescent life and some of the reasons I wanted to commit suicide. One of the most serious conflicts in my adolescent life was encountering the issue of gender identity. The social repercussions of this issue were profoundly distressing to me, and in my adolescent and teenage years, and unfortunately, the bullying that sometimes occurred in school resulted in several suicide attempts at an early age. Regardless of your feelings and beliefs about gender identity issue, I think we all can agree that this particular group deserves more support and compassion from society. Most of my teenage suicide attempts were participate, precipitated by the interpersonal conflicts. Suicidal behavior often represents a child's desperate attempt to change the behavior and attitudes of others. Many kids, like myself, are growing up in single parent households or those who both parents were working, so a large number of children are spending more time alone or with peers than with parents. Many are not receiving enough adult guidance and modeling, so they don't have the opportunity to learn the coping skills necessary to effectively deal with stress. Children told to Children today spend most of their time inside buildings and disconnected from earth and its healing electrical field. Even when they are outside, they wear rubber sole shoes. They effectively shield them from the healing energy of the earth. They are excited There is an exciting new research underway about how reconnecting to Earth walking barefoot, also known as earthing, can result in profound healing of your mind and body. During this hospitalization, I had to see four different psychiatrists, all of whom diagnosed me differently. The first said I had PTSD or post traumatic stress disorder, which was an anxiety disorder that may have developed after exposure to a terrifying event or ordeal in which several physical harm occurred, was severe physical harm occurred, or was threatened. The second said I was bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder, also known as manic depression, is a mental illness that brings severe high and low moods and changes in sleep, energy, thinking, and behavior. It also causes delusions or hallucinations. The third said I had social anxiety disorder, in which a person has excessive and unreasonable fear of social situations. Anxiety, intense nervousness, and self consciousness arise from the fear of being closely watched, judged, criticized by others. Mm. The fourth said I had split personality disorder, which is a rare dissociative disorder in which two or more personalities with distinct memories and behavior patterns apparently exist in one individual. I have a hint of in every diagnosis they came up with because PST came from molestation, beatings, and being locked in closets for days at a time. With the bipolar disorder, I hear voices that are not there, and my mood is always up and down. Every time I think back on what has happened to me, I get into a place of wanting to die, feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, feeling unloved, and feeling abandoned. I am very aggressive and I am always fighting. The social anxiety is true because I can't stand big crowds. I get anxious, sweaty, and shaky. The split personality disorder is there because I have an alternate ego who is a superhero who doesn't feel any pain, doesn't cry, or and everyone loves him. So I could see what they were saying. The psychologist, who was an expert in my diagnostics, was confused as to what the correct diagnosis was. She had never seen such a complicated case. A social worker who had managed my treatment couldn't effectively manage my treatment because there were no positive diagnoses. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks and then I had to return home. Things things began to happen all over again. How many times is they sending this child back to this house? It's just like, come on now. Okay. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks and I had to return home. Things began to happen all over again. The beating started, the molestation continued. My uncle was living with us and I had double trouble. I couldn't take it anymore. I took 35 oxycodone pills and literally died. The EMS had to do CPR to bring me back. While I was gone, I had an experience like you wouldn't believe. My spirit left my body as a child, and when my spirit departed, I was an adult, and my spirit was pushing my body to wake me up. My spirit picked my natural body up and took it 20 years ahead and showed me life as an adult. My spirit told me that I had something to live for, that God had a plan for my life, and the hell I was going through now was going to be used to give God the glory. After that, we transitioned back to the present moment, and when my spirit put my natural body back into the ground, back onto the ground, I felt my spirit filled with my body. I woke up with a huge yelp. They took me to the hospital and made me drink nasty charcoal that coated my stomach and made me throw up all those pills. The doctor came in the room and told my mother that DSS had been called and I would be admitted to the hospital for several weeks. I took pills. I took pills and it was considered a suicide attempt. She was angry with me because she had just gotten me back home, but already these people had been called again. They would investigate the reasons why I tried to kill myself. Back to Elizabeth General Medical Center, I went to for the second time in 2 months. I still didn't have an official diagnosis, and I was back in the hospital. I was back in the hospital, but this time it was a little different. I sat down on the top 10 psychiatrists in the state of New Jersey. One of them was the chief of children's psychiatry at Jersey Shore Medical Center, of the top psychiatry hospitals. All of them came to the same conclusion. I was highly intelligent and they couldn't give an accurate diagnosis. They prescribed me some medicine to kind of mellow my mood to help me sleep. This medicine made me feel like a zombie. I was dragging, always tired. My speech was slowed. I drooled. I was given lithium, Depakote, and Zyprexa. The lithium and Depakote were meant to mellow out my mood, and the Zyprexa was to help me sleep. They were treating me for bipolar disorder, and these were typical medicines used to treat this illness. So they were experimenting on me because they couldn't come to a conclusion on diagnosis. The hospital stay was a little longer because the new medicine and because there was an investigation going on concerning with my mother. My cry for help had finally been heard. Someone believed me. It was the person I least expected. None of my family knew what was going on. All they knew was I was a bad child and I was being placed in the hospital because of my behavior. While in the hospital, I met with several investigators and therapists who specialize in dealing with sexually abused children. I had to do with I had to do the thing with the dolls again and explain in detail what had happened. This is a very painful experience and it took everything I had to do this all over again. I had just gone through this same situation a couple of years ago when it happened with Mr. and Mrs. Esposado. My anxiety level was through the roof, but if things were going to get better for me, I had to get the courage to go through the process again. How many of us had to repeat a process over and over because we didn't learn the lesson? Hold on. We didn't learn we didn't learn the lesson, and because we were comfortable with certain people whom God told us to terminate. But we held on to them, not realizing that they were running the risk of killing our own destiny by keeping those people around. I will always remember that my spirit told. Wait, I will always remember what my spirit told me when I died in the middle of the street. In the middle of the street. God has a plan for your life, and because of the hell you're facing right now, God will get the glory. How many times have people done wrong to us and we have thought about the ways to make them hurt like they have hurt us? I have done this on several occasions, and every time I have thought about it, something else happened and something else happened so that I left wait a minute. Something else happened so that thought left my mind. It is never easy getting over hurt, especially when it's someone you trusted, loved, or had placed faith in. But there is only one solution: forgiveness. It is hard, but we have to remember that forgiveness isn't for the other person, it is for us. While we are held in a mental or spiritual bondage because of the unforgiveness in our hearts, the other person is free because they don't believe they have done anything wrong. This is where we begin to feel guilty and feel like what happened to us is our fault. This isn't the case at all with things such as abuse, whether it's sexual, physical, mental, or verbal. Nobody deserves to be hurt, and nobody's independence should be snatched from them unwillingly. The people who do this to others will have to answer to God. This scripture always stood to be true. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give the place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. And that is chapter 4. I told y'all chapter 4 was a little bit longer. Child, how is y'all done? I'm confused. Like, okay, so didn't the people at the school know that something happened because he couldn't sit down in the chair and they pull the meat off him, but they send him back home and they keep sending him back to this house? That's where I'm getting stuck at. Like, the fuck? Mm. We gonna have to find out, honey, what happened to both of their asses. Like, his mama got all the pull in the world. Like, how the hell she keep getting out of this? She, they ain't lock her ass up, baby. Betty said that was a lot to take. This getting deeper and deeper each chapter. Okay, great baby. Right, NYW, all that going on. The sister failed him how many times? How many times? Mm-mm. Now, I know he said the one person, he was shocked, believed him, but did I read who that was? Because I missed it. Who was the one person that shocked him? It shocked him that they believed him or something. I might have to go back and scan through that again, child. Aren't they mandated report? Child, NYW. They supposed to been reported it the first time, but he said they took him out the home and put him back in. Like she knows somebody's secrets. Okay, Grady baby. Oh, he didn't say. I thought so, Sherry. I was like, I don't remember saying that. Well, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed. Okay, we moving on through the chapters. Yes, yes, yes. So when this movie come out, y'all, we gonna be all over this shit. We already in chapter 5, okay? Let me see how long chapter 5 is. See if it's longer than chapter 2. I mean 4. Not really. Chapter 5 a little shorter than chapter 4 was. A little tidbit. So we gonna see what's going on, honey. This book, this is The Untold Secret by Douglas E. Hobson. That's Hopson. If y'all want to check it out, it is on Amazon. I think a few people purchased it and then already read it. So it might be somebody I know certified. I think she read it already. I didn't hear me say, Carrie, I love him. All right, boo, you have a good night. She said I couldn't watch the movie. I know they wouldn't show all that in the movie. But they would. It would point out some errors in their system if they do get this after they. I think she said they already started production on the movie. So, honey, somebody gonna be looking to their system up there. I'm just saying they better watch out. All right, y'all. Don't y'all forget about the raffle tomorrow. Okay, we'll be back over here. Now we gotta have a raffle early tomorrow because I'm going out. So I put it on my main page community feed. I don't even know if I did 6 or 7. I think I put 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, we're gonna do the raffle tomorrow. And y'all know how we do it on a Friday, okay? So we're gonna be over here early because I gotta get in the streets. I got a table at the club, okay? Y'all know how it go down. All right. My PayPal is a WGQMERCH@gmail.com. Carrie Ray got it right above you, boo. Okay, Cheryl. You better tell them folks, honey. Tell them folks, child. But my PayPal is WGQmerch@gmail.com. Thank you, Carrie Ray. We going to have the raffle tomorrow at 6, y'all, because me and Josh getting in the street. It's the weekend. We ain't go nowhere last weekend. We get in the street this weekend, okay? Thank you. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Mwah. I see we done had quite a few people to come through here listening to our book reading, ain't we? All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. See y'all later.